Order this regular October meeting of the Robertson County Commission. I'm going to ask Mr. Larry Prophet if he will deliver the invocation for us, to be followed by the pledge to the flag. If everyone will please stand.
Everyone will bow your heads and open your hearts, please. Father God, we come before you tonight, asking you to pour your blessings upon us as an unworthy people who walk in your light. Regardless of how we feel day after day, we know that you're there to lift us up. I ask that you put your blessing upon this body tonight. Help them to do business for the least of these, those that need taken care of in your county, in this beautiful place we live, Robertson County. Be with us today and tomorrow and every day forth, for you are and always will be. These things we ask in my Christ, Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, if you will press yes and confirm, you will be registered into our voting system. There being 21 commissioners present, Commissioners Eden, Glover, and Jackson are absent. I declare that we do have a quorum. You have the minutes from the September meeting. What's your pleasure? Have a motion by Roberts and a second by Gregory that they be accepted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, so they are approved. Very briefly, under communications, Mr. Davis and I today were proud to meet with a number of our bus drivers in Robertson County Schools and to proclaim this week to be Bus Driver Appreciation Week. We genuinely appreciate what these folks do, Mr. Bowens. I can't imagine a tougher job, and you all do it with grace and style, and I appreciate that so much. So we wanted to recognize all the bus drivers in Robertson County. Wish we had a few more. Have a letter from the Comptroller's Office approving our budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2017. So I was asked to pass that along to you. As most of you know, back about 2 weeks ago, we lost former Commissioner Bobby Jones. It's hard to imagine county government or this place without Bobby, because he was here so long and was so loved by so many people. When I came on the county commission in 1972, Bobby had been here for a couple of years, I think, prior to that. So even he ranked me until he left office in 2014. But Bobby will certainly be missed, and appreciate all that he did, including 6,000 and how many weddings in Robertson County? 6,100. Yeah, when I saw that number that he had done over 6,000 weddings, I thought that's got to be a typo, but it wasn't. And that's just the ones he performed in Robertson County, and he frequently went outside county to do. So we will not know how many weddings that Bobby did. So, and we also were very saddened to learn last week of the sudden passing of Mr. Tom McAnulty. Tom with Stevens Incorporated, and later his son Ashley has handled all of our bond issues since 2003. And Tom was a trusted advisor, man of great integrity. And we'll certainly miss Tom. On behalf of both Commissioner Jones and Mr. McAnulty, you sent a remembrance to the services. Mr. Jones didn't have a service. We'll be sending a book in the library in his name, but we did send flowers to Mr. McAnulty. And I had a chance to go to the funeral home. I know Jody was there. Some others may have gone down to Brentwood, but we will certainly miss them. I'd like to mention a couple of things from our veterans, and that is, some of you may have heard about the moving wall, which is a moving Vietnam memorial wall. Many of you have seen this wall in Washington, D.C., and the fact that we're able to get this in Robertson County is a great honor for us. And so this will be at the Springfield Funeral Home, Memorial Gardens, November 4 through 6. There will be a remembrance event on Saturday, November 5th at 11, so please put that on your calendar. Love to have a good representation of the County Commission there. I think there'll be a great turnout, and grateful to the Springfield Funeral Home and others that managed to come up with the money necessary to get the wall here, so we're grateful for that. And also, speaking of veterans, we'll be having a Veterans Day service at the courthouse outside on the day before Veterans Day, November the 10th, which is a Thursday at 11 a.m. November 10th at 11 a.m. So we'd love to have you all join us for that. If you have Comcast TV at home, you may have noticed that the County Commission meetings are now on Channel 19. You know, for many years we've shared Channel 3 with the City of Springfield and still do, but Channel 19 was a channel actually that belongs to the Board of Education and Springfield High School. Their program is not operating currently, so they were kind enough to allow Walter to have access to that channel, and he goes in and changes the disc weekly. And you can also see a county called Robertson, which I know many of you have seen many times before, that's attached to that. So I wanted to let you know that that is also available. At our workshop that we did last month on planning and land management, the suggestion was made that we make available to you some information from the Land Trust for Tennessee. And I thought of Mr. Gary Moore, who is their director, and I've asked Gary to come tonight to spend a few moments talking about how the Land Trust operates. And I think this will be good information for you and also to have the exposure on TV. So Chair will entertain a motion now to make Mr. Moore a member of this body. Had that by Commissioner Wilson and a second by Commissioner Baggett. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So Gary, if you'll come forward, you are now a member of the Robertson County Commission, and we would like to hear what you have to tell us about the Land Trust for Tennessee.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Bradley, and ladies and gentlemen of the Robertson County Commission. I'll just take a few minutes. I know you have a lot of work to do, just like most all counties now. But a little more introduction of myself. I come from Williamson County, Franklin, Tennessee, a little place called College Grove. We grew corn, wheat, soybeans, burley, tobacco, beef, cattle, hogs, truck farming, lesbides of hay and wheat straw. So I am familiar with agriculture. Dad told me at age 18, somebody's got to go. So I said, okay, I'll go to MTSU and get a degree and leave the farm. So I spent 37 years with USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service. And while I was there, I was fortunate enough to get a job right here in Robertson County, starting in 1980 through 84 with H.C. Green, who lives still at Fluellen today, and I try to see him occasionally when I'm through. I love this area. It's always been like home. I had a son born right here in this old hospital, as I call it. So I'm glad to be back just to share with you a few minutes, a few things. Now, the Land Trust for Tennessee, we are a nonprofit. We're a non-governmental entity. So it's two misconceptions I have to deal with all the time. Because I say Tennessee and I say Mayor Phil Bredesen, we think there's tax money involved in a government agency. Well, we're a nonprofit, a 501c3. We raise all of our money, every penny of it, no tax money at all. And we have a 36-member board that we answer to that helps us run our business. So no governmental help at all. I want to give you a few numbers, some that won't confuse you at all. It'll be, I think, interesting to you, but the Land Trust for Tennessee was founded in 1999 when Mayor Phil Bredesen went out west at that time and saw these huge ranches being protected. He said, I know this needs to be done in Tennessee. Why not Middle Tennessee first? And we all know what 24 and 65 and 40 has done to Middle Tennessee. It's brought lots of development, brought a lot of people, and that's great. We have no qualms with that. We are not against development. I want to say that again. We are not against development. We're only for protecting your farm if you are. It's strictly your option and your choice voluntarily to work with us. So we're more than glad to work with you as we can. So since 1999, we're 16 years old. We have now protected 110,000 acres in the state of Tennessee. We're in 62 counties, and that represents 350 properties. I said properties. That's Civil War battlefields, that's parks, that's forests, and of course lots of beautiful prime farmland just like we have in Robertson County. When we sit down and we do our mission each year, we decide where to work. And we're having to do more and more of that now because we're getting people calling us now. We don't have to get out as much as what we have been. I've been on board 4 years now with the Land Trust after 37 years with the NRCS. So I am familiar with a lot of you people up here and a lot in this area. One of our hot areas is Montgomery, Robertson, and Sumner counties. Up into Kentucky. We are now on the borderline counties of Kentucky also. We just started that this year because we're getting calls from most farmers and landowners wanting to come and work with them also. And I'm going to be closing easements in Christian and Todd County in the next month. So I want to give you a few more numbers here. Start with the Land Trust for Tennessee. Oh, I told you those. Okay, the Montgomery, Robertson, Sumner County area. What have we done in that area? Real quickly, in Montgomery County, we have 14 easements on 3,400 acres. 14 easements on 3,400 acres. In Sumner County, to the east of you, we have 10 easements for 1,900 acres. So what are we doing here in Robertson County? Well, I'm pleased to say we are now at 2,300 acres protected. Now, what kind of land are we protecting here? It's everything north of Springfield, just like what you would imagine. There are 3 things that we have to look at to justify our existence and why we're protecting farmland. And those 3 things are prime soils. The second one is water frontage. It don't have to be continuous all year long, but water frontage. And then third, of course, is road frontage. We have to look at all 3 of those things to make sure that we're justified in our nonprofit status and working with y'all on protecting your farms. In Robertson County, those 2,300 acres that we've protected is on 12 different individuals. I'm going to give you their names. I don't think they'd mind. I've asked them from time to time if I can share them. On the northwest corner, we have Mac Finley. Let's drop down to Adams, we have Joe Goodman. Let's drop down to Cooperstown, and we have the Joe Mac Lipscomb Farm, which is now owned and operated by the Freemans. Let's move back up to the state line again. We have Jack Nixon. And if we keep going down the state line, we have Kenneth Bracey, has 3 farms. And then staying in that area, we have Randall Fuqua, whose daddy is Judge Fuqua, that probably some of you know as a judge from Kentucky. And if we drop just a little ways from there, again, we have Jeff Barbie, who I'll be closing next month. And then if we slide on over to the east side, then we have Jeff Porter, and he has protected 2 farms. I just closed on one of those last week. Now that 2,300 acres that these guys have decided to protect represents nearly 1,400 acres of this word prime soils. You've heard me say that USDA is the one that acknowledges what soils are prime. Y'all know what they are. I don't have to tell you that. It's all this beautiful gently rolling stuff. It's got a little slope to it too because we actively farm it and we treat it well with conservation tillage and all. But 61% of that is prime farmland that we've protected now. We're mighty pleased with that. Our water frontage is about 5 miles. 5 miles of not continuous flow, but nearly continuous flow all the way up to the Red River. Okay, and then on our road frontage, we're at 9 miles or over 46,000 feet of road frontage. That's 2 lane, some 4 lane, down to a paved path through the farm. Okay, why are we that particular about those 3 things? Those 3 things means development. If it's prime soils and it's got water frontage and road frontage, that means it's prime and ready to be developed. And again, that's fine with us. But these people have chose to call us or we talk to them and to get their land protected. We don't want to stop development. We want to see this county grow. If we think about what you've done, and I want to commend this county commission and Mayor Bradley here, whoever had part in that growth plan where y'all put your lines in around Cooperstown, you put your lines around Springfield, Greenbrier, Ridgetop, around White House, maybe around Portland some, but that line that goes from in and around from Cooperstown through Springfield over to White House and above, I commend y'all for trying to keep that as much agricultural and rural as you can. I know it's not going to stay that way. And everything south, be ready for development. Now you've got Portland with an exit fixing to come in, and we're going to see a lot more development, which means people are going to come in and more housing. So we're going to lose some more farms up around the Portland area, but we're not going to fight on it. We're just not going to unless that landowner up there wants to. I do appreciate your time. I think you have my information. The lady there with the mayor's office has handed out. Anytime you want to give me a call to do presentations for groups, or sit down with you to explain it a little bit more, or if you have neighbors or friends, or maybe you own farms yourself and you'd like to know a little more detail about it. The other reason I'm going to end with this, it's got to be in your head and your heart to take away the development rights from your property. There's no doubt about that. And if you can live with that and want to do that, then the other reason why a lot of farmers and landowners are doing this is for the federal income tax deductions that they get for several years associated with that farm acreage that's being protected. Thank you, Mayor Bradley. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any questions for Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vogel.
That's fine. We, as a matter of fact, we will allow homes on a farm, and we need to do it on the front end. Our rule of thumb is a house about every 50 to 100 acres. Up here it would be easy to do it 50 acres because of the way the land lays around here. So yes, sir, homes are fine, and we'll even allow some homes.
You're talking about like doing a closing or whatever, who pays for the closing?
Right now, we are able to take care of the majority of it. Sometimes we'll ask the landowner to help us. To give you an example, on a 200-acre farm, and we've allowed with existing and new houses, say 3 houses, we'll even allow the farm to be split once on that 200 acres. So you got 2 100-acre farms you can deal with, pass, down, inherit, give it away, sell it, whatever you want to do. That will run, and you want the tax deduction, it'll be somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 one time. That's all it takes. Thank you.
Other questions? Mr. Moore, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Next item the chair has are reports. And the first report that we have is from the Highway Department, 7.1. Report from Animal Control is 7.2. 7.3 is the Veterans Service Officer. I want to thank those of you who attended the opening of the new Veterans Service Office in Greenbrier back a couple of weeks ago. It's a really nice facility in City Hall. If you haven't been there, would invite you to come out and see that. And Robertson County is very deeply indebted to the city of Greenbrier for all they have done to help our veterans. 7.4 is the trustees' statement. 7.5 is the inmate expense report. 7.6 is from the Planning Commission. 7.7 is Fire Service. 7.8 is Emergency Management. 7.9 is EMS. 7.10 is Solid Waste. 7.11 is the county's financial report. And those are the reports the chair has. What's your pleasure? Have a motion by Haley and a second by Brown. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. So they are approved. We are now ready for a public hearing on planning and zoning. And as Mr. Vann comes forward, our Director of Planning, are there those in the audience that wish to speak tonight to a rezoning resolution? Raise your hand if you're here to speak to a rezoning resolution. No one here to speak to a rezoning resolution? Okay. If if that situation changes, if you'll raise your hand at the appropriate time, you will be recognized, and then before we bring those back to the full commission. Mr. Vann.
First one tonight is Ms. Elizabeth Nipper. She's requesting to rezone 4.24 acres from AG2 to R40. Property is located on Youngville Road, 18th Civil District, 8th Voting District. And by a vote of 9-0, the Planning Commission asks for your approval.
Anyone here to speak to this resolution? Mr. Vann.
The next one is Mr. Steve Tate. He's requesting to rezone 1.29 acres from AG2 to R40, low density residential. This property is located on Tennessee Highway 25 East, 18th Civil District, 8th Voting District, and again by a vote of 9-0, the Planning Commission asks for your approval.
Anyone here to speak to this resolution? Mr. Vann.
The third one is Mr. John Bianchi. He's requesting to rezone 1.563 acres from I-1 Restrictive Industrial and AG2 to C1 General Commercial. This property is located on Fluellen Road, 11th Civil District, 11th Voting District, and again by a vote of 9-0, the Planning Commission asks for your approval.
Anyone here to speak to this resolution? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing at this time and bring these three resolutions to the commission for your consideration. You'll see that we have two different zoning categories, so this will require two separate electronic votes. Anyone have a question or comment for Mr. Vann? I'm going to recognize a question called for by Commissioner Doris on resolutions 1 and 2. Is there a second? Have a second by Commissioner Roberts? Yes. So if you're in favor of resolutions 1 and 2, please vote yes and confirm, and if you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. Mr. Farmer may have a battery problem there. Is it going to work, Coach? Megan, can y'all help him? We got it, Dave. Okay. 21 votes in favor, none opposed, and 3 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Chair will now entertain a motion for Resolution 3. Have a motion by Commissioner Stroud and a second by Commissioner Stubblefield. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. I'm sorry, Mr. Davis, I'm not hearing you. Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. There being 21 votes in favor and none opposed and 3 absent, I declare those approved. Thank you, sir. Now to new resolutions. I'm going to recognize Commissioner Hoover for first reading from the Finance Committee. Commissioner Hoover.
Mayor, Madam Clerk, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen of the audience. I have resolution number 101-716-080. This is the first reading budget amendment for the Finance Department. If I can get a second.
Motion on the floor is a second by Commissioner Farmer. Any discussion? Commissioner Hoover, you want to discuss this? Anything about this one you want to bring out? Everybody ready to vote? If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. Being 21 votes in favor, none opposed, and 3 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Ms. Stubblefield, for the EMS Committee, to declare surplus property.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerk, fellow commissioners, and ladies and gentlemen of the audience, I present to you resolution number 101716081. If I could get a second.
Have a motion on the floor, duly seconded by Commissioner Couch.
This is a resolution to declare surplus property so we can sell it. It's just old vehicles and some machinery.
Questions or comments? Question has been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. Twenty-one votes in favor, none opposed, and 3 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Is there any old business to come before this body? Any new business? Please put on your calendars this Thursday, which is October 20th, for the ribbon cutting at Watauga Elementary at 5:30. Mr. Davis and the Board of Education would like to have you there if you can attend. It's Watauga Elementary, 5:30 this Thursday at Watauga. So I'm assuming that project is done, Mr. Davis. So okay, very good. And I know that's been a complicated project. It's hard to be in school and take down part of a school while you're adding to a part of a school, but they've managed to get that done. So please put that on your calendar this Thursday at 5:30 at Watauga. Any other new business? Commissioner Moore.
October the 28th is Springfield High School Yellow Jackets football game at Springfield Middle. We'll have a tailgate sponsored by Volunteer Bank, Volunteer State Bank. We'd like to encourage everyone out. We are hoping and praying that will be our last home game at Springfield Middle School. So hopefully 2017, we're going to move on to Springfield High School.
Tailgate for the Yellow Jackets. Anything else? Early voting, yes, I'm glad you reminded me of that. I thought I'd written that down. Early voting does start on Wednesday, which is the 19th, and I think there'll be a big turnout for early voting, so, and voting in general, so save yourself some time by coming over. I'd like to certainly ask the department heads to encourage their employees to leave the upper parking lot available for people who are coming in to vote. I'll send out a memo to that effect tomorrow, but we want to make it as easy to vote as we possibly can for what should be a big turnout. Springfield has a mayoral election, and there are other communities that have that, as well as the race for the state house and federal races, including the presidency. I want to recognize Commissioner Bowens for the election of notaries. And I have a second by Commissioner Moore. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. A motion to adjourn is in order. I have a motion by Commissioner Moore and a second by Commissioner Vogel. All those in favor say aye. We stand adjourned.